Good morning, everybody. So I hope everybody had a good rest and is ready to tackle today's session. So let me just do a few shout outs before we start. Morning, Bongi, and morning, Lesedi. Welcome, guys. So today we are continuing with paper one. Okay, so with the focus on summaries. Okay, so I know we didn't finish visual text, so that's text B of section A yesterday. So if we do get the time, then we will continue with that after the summaries. Okay, otherwise you can just download the lesson with the recording if we don't get enough time to cover that. Okay, so morning, everybody. Right, so it's just before we start, so just to refresh or remind you on the structure of the paper. So we've done question one, comprehension, which would be 30 marks. So it would be text A, and then text B would be the visual text. Okay, so it's got 6 marks, but marks are marks, guys. So it's important for us to also just understand or study how to answer that section as well. And then we move on to summaries. So summary would be 10 marks. Okay, and then we've got a section C as well, which we will do or rather start with tomorrow. Okay, so just starting with the summaries. So if you look at the exam, so an exam summary will be, or rather you'll be instructed to read a text, okay, which we will go over in a few. So the text is about 250 words. So you write a summary of the text in point form. So that, oh goodness, I remember that back in back in the day, many years ago. So you write 7 points using no more than 70 words. So you would need to count your words there and make sure that each point is numbered. It makes it easier for the marker to see that you have followed the instructions to the T. Okay, so you write only 1 point per sentence, and each must be a complete sentence. So you still keep the grammar rules there. So don't quote or copy sentences directly from the text. So you need to use your own words as far as possible. Obviously, the whole sentence won't be your own words. There will be those keywords from the text. Okay, but it's important for you to show that you are writing the point in your own words. And as I've said, so it's 70 words in total. So your summary must be 70 words in total. So you need to count your words when you're finished and write the total number of words down underneath your summary. Okay. So just to refresh you again, so a summary would be a shortened version of a longer text, and it keeps the basic meaning of the text. So every time you think about a summary, think basic meaning. What is a basic meaning of this whole paragraph, for example? What is the main point there? Okay, and that is what you highlight. It contains relevant facts and accurate information from the text, and it doesn't contain details from the text. For example, direct quotations. So there are no direct quotations. Okay, so as I've said, your own words. So you rewrite it, but keep the basic meaning. Okay, keep the facts. Right. So now, when writing a summary, so a good summary should contain 7 correct points that keep to the topic and are expressed clearly. So you need to use your own words as far as possible. Okay, so as I've said, it will not be entirely your own words, but as far as possible. Okay, and your summary should not contain grammar, spelling, or punctuation errors. So we still keep to the grammar rules. Okay, and so now we will look at the 5 steps, okay, to writing a summary. Okay, so just to read them. So the first one, you would have to read the question carefully. The question will tell you what the summary is about. Okay, look for the keywords in the question. So these will also guide you so that you know what information to look for in a text. Okay, so you need to read the instructions, they are your guide. And step 2, so you read the text extract. And so basically you read the extract very carefully and underline the key sentences that are related to the topic in the question. Okay, so we will go through that in just in a few. Okay, and then the third step would be now planning your summary. So you look at the key sentences or phrases you have underlined. Make sure that they focus on the topic. Okay, and so you also, as I've said, number each sentence to check that you have identified the 7 points. Okay, they will not fool you. If they say 7 points, there will be 7 points in the text. So make sure that you hunt for them. And yeah, so they are all 7. And step 4, that's where you draft and edit your summary. So you so you will have your list of 7 points in your own words. Okay, you edit your work by correcting any errors, and then you count the number of words to check whether you need to write more um, or to cut your text down. Okay, and then lastly, so that's step 5, write your final summary. So that's where you write your final summary of 7 points. Cross out your draft. Okay, remember that because the examiner will not, uh, they will not, what's the word now? So they need to be very clear, in other words, whether this is a draft um, or the final piece that you have written. They can't guess. They will go for the first one. Okay, and then count the number of words and write an accurate word count in brackets at the end of the summary. Okay, it's important to be honest in your word count. Okay, so if you write more than 70 words, the examiner will only mark up to 70 words. So the words are counted. Okay, so just make sure that you are accurate. Okay, all right, and yeah, so just an example there. Summarizing, I think it's something that we do almost every day. For example, many of us are watching Netflix, and maybe you would want to share, the series that you are watching. When you telling another person about the series, you don't tell them, word for word, exactly what happens, but you give an outline of the story, correct? And that is a summary. So it is a skill that we already practice every day. So don't look at it differently because you have to write it in an exam. Okay, so just to think at the back of your mind, I am retelling a story. How would I do that? Because I don't have time to basically, or the energy, in fact, to give exactly, exactly what happened, but I can give an outline, which will also give the person or the other person you're telling a clear idea of what the story is about. Okay, right. So now we will will just look at the question now. So how the question will look like in exam. Okay. So the summer holidays, it says, so the summer holidays are approaching. You've been asked to write a list of 7 safety tips for this period. Use the following passage to compile the list. Okay. So you will read the passage. It'll be text C, which will show shortly. And it will show below, and write a list of 7 main points for inclusion in your list. Okay. So there are your instructions. You list 7 points in full sentences using no more than 70 words. There's a guide for you. Number your sentences from 1 to 7. Okay, write only 1 point per sentence. Think, what is the meaning of each paragraph, for example? Use your own words. And lastly, indicate the total number of words you have used in brackets at the end of your summary. Okay, so remember, we will use the 5 steps, okay, in our summary. Okay, so I would like to get some readers, please. Anyone would like to read us the summary? So please indicate by raising your hand if you would like to read us the summary. I don't want you to hear my voice every time. So please, it would be great to have one of you guys. So please just indicate by raising your hand if you would like to read for us. I'll give you just a few moments. But if I don't get anyone, then I will have to move along. Okay. All right. Nobody. Going once. Going twice. Okay. All right. Then I will read. The title is Play It Safe This Summer, and it reads as follows. Summer is here, and those long winter days of being cooped up in the house are all but gone. But while we want to have fun, warmer weather comes with many hidden dangers, some of which can be fatal. The hot summer weather attracts all South Africans to water, but it is not just a pool that can pose a drowning risk. Our country also has many rivers, dams, and beaches. Regardless of their swimming ability, children should never be allowed in the water without adult supervision. Okay, so we can see we have underlined the main point there. We continue. Avoid sunburn. Applying a good sunscreen and reapplying often is vital. So that would be the second point. This goes for all skin types. Use a good product and wear a wide brimmed hat for extra protection. That's another point. Active people who sweat a great deal become dehydrated easily. Drinking plenty of fluids to prevent dehydration is essential. That's number 3. So water, milk, and fruit juices are ideal, but drinks containing caffeine should be avoided. Next paragraph. Insects carrying diseases love bushy areas as much as nature lovers do. A person showing signs of fever, headache, or fatigue may have been bitten by an insect. To avoid being bitten, use long-lasting insect repellent and treat clothes with it too. So that would be point 4. Food poisoning is no fun. Use caution when eating food from picnic baskets in hot weather. So that's point 5. Pack food in insulated containers and keep it cool with ice bricks. Okay. And last paragraph, at a playground, ensure that all equipment is safe and be careful of hot surfaces. So that would be point 6. Hot surfaces like metal slides, which can cause serious burns. Always adhere to safety regulations because a fun ride on a scooter or skateboard without protective gear might end with you landing in hospital. A few simple precautions can ensure a healthy, happy summer in the great South African outdoors. Okay, so that's adapted from You Pulse, 3rd November 2011. So, as you've seen, so we've underlined the main points and it's all 7 points. Okay. Right. So step 1, we've read the question. Okay. So the question was the summer holidays are approaching. You have been asked to write a list of 7 safety tips for for this period. Use the following passage, which we've just read, to compile your list. So the key words in the question are safety tips. So this will be the topic of your summary. Okay, so safety tips. Okay, so we go to step, so that's step 1. Okay, so we've read that. And then we continue to step 2. So step 2, okay, which we've done. So you read the text extract carefully, okay, underlining the key sentences that are related to safety tips. So as you've seen, so this has already been done, okay. And then third one, so now you plan your summary. So when planning your summary, make sure that each of the sentences focuses on safety tips, right? So number the underlined sentences to check that you have identified 7 points. If they say 7 points in the question, then you have to, so you have to make sure that you have identified those 7 points. And then step 4, so you draft and edit your summary. So you write a draft summary. So you'll have your list of 7 points in your own words, okay? And then so you edit. If you have any mistakes, then you can just edit your work, correct any errors. So remember, we need to write full sentences with the full stop, the whole works. Make sure the punctuation is proper because you will be penalized again if you do not meet those requirements. And then, yeah, so you've drafted and edited your summary. Remember to count the number of words to check whether you need to write more or cut down the number of words. Okay, so we could say, for example, just a tip there would be if, or rather a useful way to write your summary for this particular text, which is about giving instructions, would be to use the imperative form, okay, for each of your sentences. So just a reminder, an imperative sentence would be, or rather would be an order or instruction. Okay, so we say sit, for example, that is an imperative sentence. Okay, so this would be the best way to approach this. Okay, so if you look at the usual word order in an imperative sentence, so you would have your verb, you'd have your object without a subject. So if I can give you an example, you would say everyone must follow all safety rules. Okay, so you can change this to an imperative form by dropping the subject everyone and the auxiliary verb must, and then you can just say follow all safety rules. Okay, now that would be an imperative sentence. Okay, so it will definitely help you cut down on words, and you will get to the desired number of words required for your summary. And then the last step would be to write your final summary. So you write your final summary of 7 points, number the points, cross out your draft. Remember, you need to clearly identify which is a draft and which is your final piece. Count the number of words, and yeah, so you count the number of words, and then so you will see, as we've shown you in the table there, um, the 7 points that are identified in the text. So they've been rewritten. Okay, so you've got the on your left. So you've got the information from the summary, and then your own words on the right. That's the second column. Okay. So, so the most important facts have been drawn from the extract, and yeah, so we will see there. That is what it would look like. So we have changed the so that, or what we've gotten from the text into imperative sentences. So let's just have a look at the sentences and see how they have been rewritten. Okay, so the first one, regardless of their swimming ability, children should never be allowed in the water without adult supervision. So that was what we got from the text. If you change that into your own words, you would say always supervise children near water, even those who are good swimmers. You see, nice and short, but still to the point. Second one, avoid sunburn, applying a good sunscreen and reapplying often is vital. Wear a wide brimmed hat for extra protection. So you could rewrite that as protect yourself from sunburn with effective sunscreen and wide brimmed hat. Done. Third one, drinking plenty of fluids to prevent dehydration is essential. So you could change that into keep hydrated by regularly drinking fluids. Fourth one, to avoid being bitten, use long-lasting insect repellent and treat clothes with it too. So we could rewrite that to use an insect spray on yourself and your clothes to prevent harmful bites. So cut down nicely there, but keep to the point. Number five, use caution when eating food from picnic baskets in hot weather. Uh, you would rewrite that as avoid food poisoning by keeping food in picnic baskets cool. Okay. And then point six, at a playground, ensure that all equipment is safe and be careful of hot surfaces. So we could say, check for unsafe hot playground equipment. Simple, but to the point. And lastly, always adhere to safety regulations, because a fun ride on a scooter or skateboard without protective gear might end with you landing in hospital. So we could just say there, follow safety rules and wear protective equipment to avoid injury. Done. And so you write your summary totals, so 67 words, and you score your 10 points. That's simple, huh? All right. So if you have any questions, please feel free to just jot them down in the chat section, okay? So now we're going to try out uh, this activity. Okay, so I will need your input in this just to check your understanding. Okay, so I will need your lead on this. So the question reads, last year has been one of the most exciting yet stressful years of your life. You have been asked to talk to your fellow learners at the next school assembly on how to manage stress. Okay, so you need to Note that the keywords in the question are manage stress, okay? So all 7 of your points must be focused, or rather must focus on that key phrase, manage stress, okay? Right, so read the passage, text C below, and write a list of 7 points for inclusion in your talk. Okay, so we've got the instructions there. So you list 7 points in full sentences using no more than 70 words. Number your sentences 1 to 7. Write only 1 point per sentence, as we've seen in the previous example. Use your own words and indicate the total number of words you've used in brackets at the end of the summary. Okay, so we've got our summary here. Okay, anyone who would like to read it? So I extend the offer again. If you would like to read for us, please indicate. I will do a countdown. And yeah, but if you, yeah, so I will just wait to see if anyone raises their hand. Do a quick countdown. If not, then I will read. Okay, going once, going twice. Okay, gone. Looks like I'm going to have to read this again. Okay, so as I read, okay, so I would like you to just, yeah, so just maybe just grab a pen and, yeah, and paper and just jot down points that you think, yeah, that or key points that you think we can use for the summary. Okay. You can either write them down or, in fact, just write them. In fact, yeah, it's better. Just write them on the chat section. Okay, so as I read, so if you see that, okay, this is definitely relevant to the key or to the topic, then just jot it down in the chat section. Okay, as I read. All right. And so the title of the text is Beat the Burn, and it reads as follows. We live in a stressful world. The general truth is that stress is not something that happens to you, but something you do to yourself. The good news is that there are a few things you can do to turn your stress into joy. Our thoughts create stress. When you have negative pictures in your mind, deliberately change them into positive thoughts and paint the best possible pictures in your mind. Remember, you can just jot down if you identify a point, okay? So just jot it down as I continue to read. Repeat this as many times as it takes. The purpose of meditation is to keep your attention in the present moment, away from stressful thoughts that are in the past or future. When your mind runs away mentally, relax and focus on your breathing. When you are stressed, you deprive your body of precious oxygen. At regular intervals, take 10 deep breaths in and out, feeling your stomach move. Visualize oxygen going to your toes, fingertips, and brain. Creativity takes your mind away from difficult issues, forcing you to focus on the task at hand. Being creative can therefore help you feel good while creating something beautiful. Any form of exercise rids the body of unfriendly hormones. Exercise causes your body to relax, or rather to release hormones which will leave you feeling great. Science proven that laughing can beat, or rather, science has proven that laughing can beat illness or illnesses, including cancer. Laughing rids the body of bad chemicals. Fill your diet with vegetables, fruit, nuts, lean meat, and fish. Limit your caffeine intake. which will not only stabilize your blood sugar level, but also your mood. Do not have too many late nights, as you could be deprived of sufficient rest. Only you can turn your stress into joy. So the text has been adapted from Longevity. So that's June 2009. Okay, so have we identified any points there that we can include in our summary? Okay, I'll give you a bit of time. So anyone who would like to share the key points that they have identified in the text before I reveal them? Okay, so we've read the question, okay, and then we've read the extract, okay, and so hopefully you were able to identify these points. Okay, so now what we're going to do, yeah, so now we would need to identify these key points. Okay, so I would say, you will tell me if you agree with me. The first would be to convert the negative thoughts into positive thoughts. Okay, so basically that's think positively. And then the second one, meditate. So meditate to help focus your mind on the present. Okay, so that would be the second one. And then the third one, take deep breaths regularly to enable oxygen to allow, or rather to flow to your organs. So that would be the third one. And then, so being creative can take your mind off your problems. Okay, so we can include that point as well. And exercise to rid the body of harmful substances. So that would be another one. And laughter helps to heal the body. And then the next one would be to eat healthy food. Okay, so that would be another one. And an eighth one, in fact, would be get enough sleep or rest sufficiently. So there are 8 answers, but you can use any 7. So remember to keep to so you would need to keep to the instructions. Okay. So basically, so what is expected from you in an exam there would be, so basically as I've said, the summary would be 10 marks. Okay, so that is out of 80 marks for paper 1. Okay, so the examiners are looking for 7 correct points that keep to the topic and are expressed clearly. Okay, so using your own words as well. And they must not contain grammar, spelling, or punctuation errors. So remember that. And each correct point will earn a mark, and 3 marks will be given for correct language use. 3 marks, guys. So you really need to just make sure that you are on point when it comes to the requirements. Okay, and then yeah, so basically, so the whole exam is 2 hours, so you should spend about 30 minutes on the summary. Okay, and please just remember to practice. Okay, so in your past years papers, so practice writing the summaries. Okay, all right, and so please feel free to jot down any questions if you require clarity. Okay, so there it is. So we've got our answer there. So these are our 8 points. All right, so just continue to practice, okay? Continue to practice. Practice makes perfect, okay? Always does, and it becomes easier the more we do it. Okay, all right, so it looks like we have a bit of time now to continue with our visual text. So this is yeah, so this is based on section A. Okay, so section A of paper 1. So we've done the comprehension already. So now we focus on visual text. Okay. All right. So we will just talk about steps, okay, that are so that we have to go through in writing visual text comprehension, okay? And so just go, or I'll just walk you through the different steps. Okay, so step 1 would obviously be, or would be looking at the picture. Okay, so you look at all the details in the picture. So, for example, what is the content of the picture? If there are people in the picture, what are they doing? Where are they? You know, the facial expressions of the people in the picture, if we have that. Or you look at the body language, you know. But in this case, you look at the picture, okay? So in this case, I'm sure you guys can recognize this as well. So we can see, okay, so you can see a piece of clothing there that looks like a t-shirt. You see a label there, and this is what it mainly, this is what um, the picture, I think, is all about. So you can just let me know. So what are the main things that you see in this particular picture? So before we answer, so what do you see there? Okay, and then yeah, so we will look at step 2. So you read the words and you link them to the picture. So you read, yeah, so you read the words in the heading of the picture. Okay, fabric care, language made easy. So that is what it's about. So you read the words in the heading and the words below the picture. So you look at the picture again. Okay, so think about how the words support what you see in the picture. Okay, and then you answer the questions. Okay, all right. So let's look at it. Okay, so now, all right, so we will do this exercise together. Okay, so where would you find these fabric case symbols and clothes? Okay, so I will wait for your answers, guys. Where would you find these fabric case symbols and clothes? So do share, do share. So where would you find these fabric case symbols and codes rather? Let's hear your answers. So anyone? So where would you find these fabric case symbols and codes? Let's hear it. I'll give you some time to think about the answers. And you tell me. Okay. Okay, so, all right, Lesedi, you've asked me to repeat the first and second points. Is that on how to tackle this question? Okay, let's hear it. Okay, so it's basically just looking. So the first step would be to look at the picture. Okay, look at all the details of the picture. Okay, so this would be, let's just go back a bit. Oh, no. We want to go back. We want to go back. Yeah, so you look at the picture and then you read the words and link them to the picture. So basically, this is just for you to understand what the picture is about. Okay, before you answer. Okay, so the question, yeah, so the question is, where would you find these fabric case symbols in clothes? We all see them. So where would you find them? Okay, so we've got, okay, I don't know why my chat has disappeared here. My chat has disappeared. So let's see. Okay, there on clothing labels, exactly. So you would find them on the labels, right? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Bongi. Thank you, Lesedi. Yes, on oh, okay, yeah, it was Bongi. Thank you, Bongi. Yeah, clothing labels. That's where you would find them. Okay, second question. So 1.16, look at the symbols next to the shirt. Why is there a cross on the iron? This is an easy one, guys. Okay, I'm going to go back. So I will go back. So there's a cross there. Look at, yeah, just the top there, just next to the t-shirt. There's a cross. Yeah, so there's a cross there. So you see here. Yeah, so why is there a cross there? There, exactly. Do not iron. Yeah, that is exactly what it requires you to not do. Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Okay, why is it not moving? Okay, right, let's continue. 1.17. What do two dots mean on the iron? What do the two dots mean on the iron? So we'll go back quickly. What do the two dots mean, do you think? So let's hear it. So what do you think the two dots mean? So we would say there, just to, yeah, for the sake of time. So it means that the garment or clothing can be ironed using warm or medium heat. Okay. And then 1.18. Okay, choose the correct answer to complete the sentence. So write the question number and the letter. So that's AD. Understand what your clothes are saying. It is an example of. Understand what your clothes are saying. What is it? Personification, metaphor, simile, or alliteration? What do you think? Understand what the clothes are saying. Okay, so remember the clothes. Okay, I see there's an answer there. There's an answer there. Oh, goodness, we are racing against time here. Okay, I'm not able to see. I'm not sure why my chat window refuses to appear. But I'm guessing you said A, personification, right? Clothes are not people, so they don't say, they don't speak, right? So we've used personification there. Okay, and then lastly, which would be easier to understand, the words or the symbols give one reason. So that would require you to give your own answer there. Okay. So they would say, for example, the words would be easier if you choose, because not all people know what the symbols are if they are not explained. You could answer it like that, or you could say symbols are visuals and are easier to understand. You don't have to work out the meaning of words to know what you should or should not do. So that is an open-ended question. You can answer it anyhow. Okay. Great stuff. All right, guys, thank you very much. That brings us to the end of today's session. Okay, so hopefully now you've got the tips or the exam tips on how to approach your summaries as well as visual text. So tomorrow we continue with section C of paper one. So thank you so much for joining, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful day ahead. Continue with your lockdown classes, okay? And we will join again tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.